So, my dear brothers and sisters, I am very happy to greet you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. This is the third version of the shepherd's voice, and perhaps I can understand, though the year has begun in a good way for us. We had Christmas, we had the New Year. Somehow once again we are asked to coil ourselves into this uncertainty of coronavirus or Omicron that we have been destined to have it at this time. The government has given a lot of directives and we are requested to observe it. I can understand your own inconveniences, the discomfort, the lack of spontaneity or joy. Perhaps many are not going for work. There are some who are stuck at home. The children are once again told not to come back to the schools. And it's once again, as I said, a dark shadow that is above us. But we are not the ones who complain. For that matter, even our churches are closed once again. When we opened the churches about 2-3 months back, the people start coming back, and there was a lot of joy, a lot of activities in our churches. I know that Mission Sunday and the other celebrations went on well, even the Christmas, the New Year. But once again, we have been requested to close the churches on weekends. On Monday to Friday, we can open our churches, but on weekends, which are very important for us. And there was this joy of people meeting in the churches, meeting each other, greeting, and so many activities of the parish which we will miss. It's a sacrifice that we have to make. Yesterday evening, there's a lady who called me. I had known a little, that lady, and she told me, "Bishop, you are closing once again the churches." I said, "I'm sorry, we are asked to do that. The government directives we have to observe." It's so sad, she said, that we can't come back to churches on Saturday or Sundays. We used to go for the Sunday Mass, and once again I was so happy. I said, "You can watch the Mass on the online mode, etc." But she said, "That's not the same thing. My child accompanies me for the 10 o'clock Mass in our parish, and he's so joyful to come for the Mass and to meet the people, to participate in the liturgy. And soon after the Mass, our parish is also conducting the catechism for the children, and so nicely he conducts. And my boy was so active, he used to skip and jump and come home, do the homework, etc. I can understand, what a great absence for us not to have the presence of God actively in our lives. But my dear friends, I request you to be careful. The government makes these directives in order that we may be healthy, that we have to take care of our health. So therefore wear the mask, perhaps inside the house and surely outside. Keep distance. Keep also the house and the surroundings sanitized to the extent possible. And whenever you are in the public, protect yourself. Surely the government is giving us directives which are useful for us. Try to keep them to the extent that it is necessary for your good health. What's special about Sunday? That's Sunday, what we call the second Sunday in January. It's a landmark day for Jesus in his life. It's called the baptism of Jesus. The baptism of Jesus. The baptism of Jesus perhaps looks like a small incident, but then it was one of those defining moments for Jesus. liked for all of us. The baptism is a defining moment for you. Many of us have taken for granted that I am baptized, I am a Christian. Sometimes when I go for confirmation, I ask the children, even First Communion, I say this is a very important day in your life, confirmation or First Communion. And when I ask the children, can you tell me when is your birthday? Surely all of you will raise your hands and tell me when is your birthday. But if I ask you when is your baptism day, how many would remember it? How many have noted it? How many have considered it as important? We have just taken for granted. And what does baptism do for Jesus? 3 things. First of all, it establishes his close relationship with the Father. Secondly, the baptism makes Jesus a special messenger of God. And thirdly, the baptism prepares Jesus for his mission. And in the same way for us, first of all, baptism for Jesus, as I said, a close relationship with God. The Gospel of Luke chapter 3, where the pericope from this baptism scene has been taken, tells us that when Jesus was baptized, the heavens were opened and there was a voice that was heard, "This is my beloved Son. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." Perhaps these are the words that have to resound again and again in our heart. This is my beloved Son. This is my beloved daughter, which God upholds us to be. And secondly, I said, baptism of Jesus was also a sign and symbol of the mission of Jesus as a messenger of God. And for us too, through baptism, God makes us the disciples, his own disciples. He gives us an identity. When you are employed, perhaps you get what we call the card, the identity card. When you are an Indian, you get the Aadhaar card. When you are going abroad, you get the passport. These are the documents which establish your identity. And for us Christians, the baptism gives us a special identity. Identity that I am a man of God, that I am called to be a disciple of Christ. It's not simple. It's something to say that you are marked to be something special by God. I remember once a youth who came to me. I had known him a little earlier. And when he was recalling his experiences abroad, he was employed abroad. He said, first time when I went abroad, I was very frightful and nervous because this interview was very important for me. And when I went for the interview, they saw my card that was given for interview, and my name was written M so and so. M was the initial and so and so. And so the officer of that place, a country which is not very friendly to the Christians, he told me, what does this M stand for? He says, it stands for Manuel. And the officer looked at the other man who was there, and I knew that my interview was gone now, because having declared that I am a Christian, perhaps I will not be taken seriously. And that man asked me, are you happy to be a Christian? And he says, I just thought for my moment. So far I was not happy, in the sense I was not even aware of it. But I told sir, yes sir, I am happy to be a Christian. I am proud to be a Christian. And that is why my parents have given me this name as Manuel. It's a very special name. And I would work for this or for whatever it is, because as a Christian, I am determined, I am dedicated. This boy tells me, they were glancing each other, and I could hear the whispers that this man can be trusted because he is proud to be a Christian. He is not scared to proclaim his religion, and this man perhaps we can trust. I think something like that. If God has trusted you to become a Christian, it means much. In this last few days, we are busy with what's called the anti-conversion bill. And what does it mean? That today to be a Christian in India, to be converted as a Christian in India is perhaps not a very good thing. The people of the lower caste, if they are going to convert, they would have to sacrifice many, many things because they will not be given the privileges that are given by the government for certain people, for certain categories. They would have to sacrifice that. It means much for them. So that is what it means to be disciple of Christ. And thirdly, baptism for Jesus meant that he carried on his mission. And for us it means, baptism means to be always concerned about the mission of Christ, to be a witness. The word witness, in its original form in the Greek, it has got a double meaning. One meaning is martyrium, it's called martyrium. And martyrium, witness, the one meaning is the one who gives witness in the court. You can say that I have seen this robbery, I have seen this murder, and so you stand there as a witness. There's another meaning for martyrium, witness, which says martyr. Martyr, the same word. That means you witness till death for certain values in your life. And that is what baptism gives you, a real stamp to follow Jesus. So my dear brothers and sisters, I wish you a very happy day of this baptism of our Lord. And be proud, as I said, of your own baptism. Think of the values that God has given you. Think of the blessings that He has given you. And maybe you are not aware of your baptism day. You are not even aware that you were baptized in certain circumstances. If your parents are alive, just go and ask them, how was that day? Did I cry when the priest poured water on me, or someone pinched me? Who are my godparents? These are all memorable events of our life, and as I said, could be landmarks if you understand what's baptism for you. My dear friends, I also request you that we know that Omicron, or perhaps the Corona extended strand that we have, government has allowed us, or rather declared till 19th to be a special restricted area and time for us. And after the 19th, we do not know whether it will continue. If it does continue, as many say that perhaps government may extend it a little more because the cases are increasing, surely I know it's going to cause a lot of misery for the people. It's going to cause a lot of harm for the people. And I would have to say the poor will suffer much more. The poor will not have ways and means to proceed and to go ahead. Last year, when such a situation arose, the diocese came forward to a certain extent to help the poor with food packets that could last for at least 10 days, 8 to 10 days, and people were happy about it. I intend to do it after 19th. If it does go and go beyond that, we do not know how long. And therefore, like last year, I will surely ask for your help and support. I know that many people are concerned about the poor people. They may not know how to give it or what to give it, where to give it. We will tell you perhaps in my next or after that, I will tell you how to perhaps we can give this help so that it can reach to the others. And I can tell you, Bangalore Archdiocese has got a heart for the poor. Has got a heart for the poor. I have told one incident, I'll repeat it once again. It's not only about the elders, about the children. When I made an announcement, one of the parish priests rang up to me Bishop, one of my boys wants to contribute something. I just smiled. Boy, how much he will contribute and what he will contribute. But the parish priest told me a nice incident, or rather something about this boy. He said it's an altar boy who comes here and he was saving his money. I mean, he's a middle class or poor family, perhaps without full support as such. And he was saving his money in, I think, a kitty, a box or a small pot or whatever it is. And he was saving his money, to buy a cycle. To buy a cycle, that's the best thing a boy should have to go about, to enjoy himself. But then he says, this boy has come to me and says that I want to give this to the Archdiocese so that the diocese people can benefit from it. And when the parish bishop told me, my eyes were wet, like a poor boy wanting to give something for the poor. He had 1,726 rupees, I think, were in that kitty. But I said, this is worth much more, like that widow in the gospel, the 1 coin or 2 coins she drops, Jesus says she has given all she has. So my dear brothers and sisters, be prepared for these emergencies. I will address you and request your help. And lastly, I know that masses and other devotions are not there. Our infant Jesus feast is also affected. The novenas and infant Jesus. Unfortunately, last year also same thing happened. This year was even the important year for us because it was the golden jubilee year of our infant Jesus shrine. But unfortunately, because of these restrictions, we have not opened the basilica. The shrine is open for darshana, and we are having masses in the basilica closed door, which are online projected for all the people. And therefore, I request you to fulfill your needs, spiritual needs, by going through the diocese and archdiocesan, the WhatsApp groups and the media, in order to know where and when are the masses. And so these days the masses are being beamed from the basilica, which you can watch tomorrow also, and the other days still the restrictions are lifted, and you can surely get back to us. And if there's anything that you can help us by way of your masses, your intentions, for the media, because ultimately through the media we are trying to do what we cannot do physically to you. And these things are also God given to us, and nothing that God gives us is not good. Everything that God gives us, even perhaps deprivations, sufferings, is also God's way of entering our life, being close to us, perhaps reminding us of our baptismal promises that we would give up anything and everything, especially evil, but then follow Christ in our life. I wish you a very happy weekend. God bless you in your families.